Hey everybody, good morning and happy Friday. It's a beautiful day outside, thank goodness, right? The weather's getting better. Now, for this last week and a half or so, we've been in what's called Mercury Retrograde. Now, I'm not a big fan of, hey Carrie, I haven't always been really attached to astrology, that's not my thing. But I've got a lot of wonderful people in my life. Hey Jody, I've got a lot, and Delisa's here too, nice. I've got a lot of wonderful people in my life who are interested in astrology. And so they like to keep me up on things like Mercury retrograde. And you might have noticed over the last week and a half, hey Janae, nice to see you. Over the last week and a half, that people's moods and their attitudes have been off the hook. I'm getting reports from everywhere that people who who struggle with their emotions, they've kind of been on edge. The people that they have in their life who have narcissistic tendencies, hey Kellyanne, have been off the charts. You know, by now you must be feeling kind of battered and bruised. Absolutely. I've been hearing story after story about everybody who's going off the hook, from freaking out about their own mental health issues, hey Maureen, to having to deal with the mental health issues of the people around them. It could be Mercury retrograde. It could be the change in the air pressure. That's a really big thing too. When spring comes or fall comes, the air pressure changes. And it's part of what stirs things up and gets things moving again. The problem with that is when the air pressure changes, hey Lavinia, nobody feels normal anymore. And so your skin feels more vulnerable, your whole body expands because there isn't as much pressure on it. And everything that maybe had been sort of lying low under the surface sort of springs up. So I want you to think about this moving forward in all, either with yourself or with the narcissists in your life and the toxic people in your life. When you start paying attention to weather patterns, when you start paying attention to things like Mercury retrograde, it's like a scale, right? When you get enough bad things on one side of the scale, it's going to tip. And this is a way that you can almost start to look ahead and feel better protected from toxic people and narcissistic sorts of things because okay, we have a storm system coming in. I might want to be aware that this is going to trigger a lot of people, that it's going to be more stressful on the people who struggle in their life. So a lot of people who are narcissists or who are toxic, are toxic relationships to you, typically they're dealing with things like tremendous anxiety. And anxiety isn't just thoughts in your head. Actually, the thoughts in your head usually come directly from a felt sense. So when you feel differently, when there's solar flares, or a Mercury retrograde or confusion or spring or changing of the seasons, then people who have high levels of anxiety and who struggle to deal with that will feel more tumultuous. They'll feel more unstable. And if you are empathic, which you probably are if you're listening to this, then you are the safest place for them to deal with their instability in the most inappropriate, hurtful, horrible, awful ways that they can think of. So I would like to apologize to you that you probably had a really rough week and a half. So first of all, know that you aren't alone. Everybody's been going through that. Hey, Rochelle. So now that things are starting to settle down again, now that the air is starting to settle and people's moods are starting to level out again, you need to, hey, Rosemary, you need to start looking at yourself. You need to start looking at how do you heal after this emotional craziness that has been put upon you. The first insight to be aware of is it really is not your fault. All of those things that the narcissist probably told you over the last week and a half or so about how everything is your fault and if you would just be better or do better or think better, that life would be unicorns and rainbows. And, you're probably sitting there thinking, what did I do? How did I end up in this position? And I want you to remember that it really doesn't have anything to do with you. A lot of people who behave in narcissistic ways are, they don't even know what's triggering them, and usually it's physical. And because they don't know what's triggering them, their mind desperately comes up with stories and people to blame in order to feel better. Hey, Lynn, nice to see you. In order to feel better. So first of all, I want you to recognize this was not your fault. Oh my gosh, what a horrible week. You didn't do anything to deserve this, except for the fact that that you are somebody who they can do it to. You know, you're somebody who doesn't have good enough boundaries, or let people into your life that you didn't realize were going to be this unstable and this crazy. So recognize that this isn't your fault. And so, first of all, look at the situation as in, wow, this was pretty terrible, and this person is fairly narcissistic, and they took it out on me, but it's nobody's, let's say, fault. You know, the more we're in conflict about something, the more we sit there and try to find the reason. Why did they do this? Why are we in this position? What's going on? How can I control it? The more you get into that mindset, the more you're going to feel conflicted and upset and have problems. And the harder it is to heal after you've been attacked, because you're not only spending your energy trying to get your resources back because now you're exhausted and pound into the ground, but now you're trying to figure out how this happened and how you can stop it from happening the next time and what are you going to do? You're now reaping the negative side effects of, they feel better, of course, but now you feel battered and bruised. Hey, Adrienne. So go in with that mindset of you didn't do anything wrong, you can't fix it, you didn't cause it, and now that there's maybe some smoothness, you need to focus on accepting what happened so that you can start nourishing and nurturing yourself. So probably over this last week and a half, all sorts of things went off kilter. Probably your diet and probably your own mood and exercise and getting out in the sunshine. Probably all the little self-care things that you normally do got pushed to the wayside just so that you could survive this tumultuous time of beingness, okay? So now is the time to give yourself permission to start doing those small things that you know are healthy that make you feel better. So for me, that includes getting back on vitamin D. It means making sure that I enjoy the warm weather, that I take the long way home, the way that looks at the trees and nature, that I make sure at lunch that I go outside and maybe try to get my feet on the ground, even just for a few moments, that I take those breathers and actually use them to breathe. Our tendency is, after we've been attacked, like you probably have been the past week and a half, is to just hunker down and sort of hide and protect and to try to get all the things done that you couldn't get done because you were being, emotionally hijacked by someone or something else. So give yourself at least another day or two in order to recover. Give yourself permission for that, because most everything can wait. Most everything you can say, you know what, I need to reschedule this. I need to get back to you about that. Put those things that you now feel behind the 8 ball about a little bit, and give yourself permission and notice and recognize that you're healing from almost being sick. Because when a narcissist goes into one of their episodes, it really does. That emotional hijacking that you go through is very, very hard on your body. So put all of those self-care things that you've been working on back into place. Now, lately with my sister, we've been talking about, and with my friend Shona, who came on, we've been talking a lot about tapping. So now's a good time when you notice different thoughts or feelings to come up, like, why did this happen? Why did they do this to me? What can I do about it? When you're in that fight or flight, one of the best ways to catch it and change it is to do EFT, emotional freedom technique, and tapping. Now, with my sister, hey, Amanda, what we talked about the other night was you tap the top of your head, you tap your heart, and you tap your gut. And you do that twice. And actually, if you want to add it, you can add putting your hand on different parts of your head because it connects your brain and different parts of your brain with your head, your heart, and your gut. You bet, Adrienne. I totally get it. So what you want to do is, what tapping does is, when you compress a cell, it releases electrical energy. You know, you don't have to have a crazy emotional upset of your own. You can use a better tool, and one of the tools is tapping. You know, so if you're not familiar about tapping or EFT, take a few minutes on one of your self-care breaks today or tomorrow to look it up. Because tapping, as I said, when you tap your cells, it releases an electrical charge. You can either have the electrical charge making you feel wired, you know, and overstimulated and crazy in your own head, or you can do tapping and release the electrical charge in a healthier, happier sort of way, one that doesn't require, you know, more repercussions of your anger and frustration on the heels of, you know, this crazy narcissism stuff that's been going on, okay? So you can also do things like go someplace that makes you feel really, really good. Hey, Danielle, like I've been going to the King Spa. You know, my sister's got Groupons for the King Spa, which is this Korean spa in Niles, which I totally love. And what it is, it's a sensory place. It's a place that's focused on sensory in a way that makes you feel better. So it's got saunas and whirlpools and steam rooms and warm showers. Do something, go to the gym and indulge in those things that you normally might not. Take a bath, take a little bit longer shower. Now, another thing you can focus on is your food choice. So part of what makes us feel crazy, as well as the narcissist, is when our digestion is messed up. It's called the microbiome. So in your gut, you've got a whole community, a whole universe of microorganisms that directly affect how you feel, directly affect how you feel. So when you get your microbiome healthy, then you're more grounded, you're less reactionary, you feel less crazy. So now's the time to have a wide variety of foods, a wide variety of vegetables. When I went to the spa the other day with my sister, we got a great big Korean green salad because I wanted all that variety of vegetables, because different vegetables from different places, they give your body different nutrients that you might not be getting or haven't gotten any other ways. So look for things that have diversity in the food that you're eating, you know, because that diversity will get your microbiome back on track and healthy again. Because if you've been stressed out, then everything shuts down. Your body doesn't take in nourishment, which means your gut and those little bacteria guys, they don't get the nourishment that they need either. And so they're going to feel crazy, which is going to make you feel crazy. So one of your self-care is to get some different foods in your system, get some different vegetables, have some fun, go to the grocery store and look around at some of the variety, and maybe make some great dishes with ginger. Make some great things with, I go for more potato products, believe it or not. Potato isn't great for everybody, but for me, potato levels out my blood sugar and it makes me feel much more level. Hey, Dr. Ruth. It makes me feel much more capable of handling what's going on around me. Hey, Christine. Okay, so get something that levels your blood sugar out. And maybe that is a complex carbohydrate, you know, whole grains. For me, as I said, it's potatoes. So I make sure now I go out and I get my potato salad and I keep it at night, and that's the snack I eat before bed, because it means that it'll keep my blood sugar level while I'm sleeping, and I'll wake up in a more stable mood because it hasn't totally taken a dive. Make sure if you've got 15 minutes here or 15 minutes there, you take that time to just be quiet. Look out the window, watch the squirrels. This is the time that you need to fortify yourself and restore yourself after this crazy week and a half, because you are feeling the extra energy and the extra stress of this person. When you can put it in a logical point of view instead of the emotional point of view, when you can say, this happened, they went off the rails because they felt anxious and overstressed, and they took it out on me, and now I'm dealing with the mental, emotional, and physical repercussions of taking on their stress or dealing with their stress for that time period. When you look at it in that logical point of view, it really takes away a lot of the judgmentalism. And it's that judgmentalism and that fear and that anxiety that you're feeling like the stone in the pond, all the ripples. You're dealing with all of those ripples now, but you get to deal with them in a healthier way. So don't look at it as in, why did this happen to me? Look at it as in, this happened. This is probably why it happened. And this is how I'm going to deal with it. So here's the last piece I'm going to give you to help recovering from this last tumultuous time that you've been going through. When you take one of those 15-minute quiet times, I want you to look at the bigger picture. You know, when we go through this, the foremost thought in our mind is, thank God it's done for now. Thank God they stopped. Thank God they're not beating me up anymore. Oh, all we want to do is almost like put it in a box and close the door to the box and not think about it and not feel it. But that's the exact opposite thing that you need to do. You know, maybe you did that while you were going through it, which I totally get, which means that you've got a lot of emotions stored up. You need to give yourself time to process through your own thoughts and feelings and emotions that came up. Love them, have compassion for them, accept them, that those are issues that you still struggle with, pain and history and memories that maybe you still have a challenge with, and use this as a healing opportunity. You know, I had a mentor who used to work with sex abuse survivors. Hey, Yvonne. And what she would do is she would recreate the situation and she would give it a different ending. So the person might break free and run away, or they might fight back, or they might stand up for themselves, or they might avoid the situation in the first place. Okay? So when we associate a positive result with a difficult situation, we do not end up as traumatized. We recover so much better, because now what we're doing is, in that box, instead of there just being all of this pain and anger that we've shut away, and now we feel it in our gut or our head or our heart or wherever we feel it, instead of doing that, we're allowing ourselves to process through it, to feel it, to release it, to look at it in a higher way, from a higher perspective, like an eagle or a hawk, and look at it as a healing opportunity. Because you can't change what happened. It already happened. It was terrible. It was miserable. It was horrible. And you feel exhausted now. You cannot change that. But what you can do is look at the things that came up for you, the fears and the issues and the pain and the things that the narcissist targeted. They are fantastic at finding the thing that will cause you the most pain. You know, the genius about that is it means that that pain can come up with you. You can finally touch it and you can finally start releasing it. That's the cool thing about having somebody trigger your deepest fears and worries and anxieties, is that it gives you the opportunity to heal it. Because once the door is open, that's how we're able to do this work. That's what they mean when they say doing your emotional work, doing your inner work. They mean being triggered, and after you're triggered, being present and feeling and releasing and having compassion for and love for and understanding what got triggered in you. And what this does for the next time is, one, once you deal with the emotional charges and your beliefs and your ideas around what came up, the narcissist can't use it against you anymore. Isn't that brilliant? Suddenly they've lost one of their weapons. Because, hey Ronnie, because what they're doing, what they say, you know, that always pushes your buttons, you're not good enough. This is all your fault. Why did you do this to me? If you'd just been better, you know, if you just wouldn't be this way. Those things that came up in you that they maybe said, hey, Alet, you can now look at because you're feeling it rather than suppressing it and hiding it down. If you need to find a good therapist or a good energy worker or a coaching program or something like that to work through it, great. But now's the time, because normally we push that stuff down and it lands in our liver and our heart and our gut, and it turns into problems and health problems and headaches and dizziness. Creates all sorts of madness in ourselves. And so let's use that. If we're going to be in the middle of it, and you are, use it as an opportunity to heal. Use it as an opportunity to become less sensitive about it. To look at the memory that maybe you had as a kid that triggered you, that happened to you, and look at it from your adult perspective. Because on the other side of emotions is always wisdom. When you allow yourself to feel and process through and think about whatever thoughts and stuff that came up, it it's the way to heal the past. It's the way to change the past because you're looking at it differently. You know, so many times when a narcissist or a toxic person comes into my life and they push all those buttons, it reminds me of all those other things. And now I can say, oh, so that's why my dad behaved the way that he did. Because he was so anxious he couldn't control himself. Oh, so that's why my cousin did that to me. It's because they were overwhelmed and they didn't know any better. And they were doing the best that they knew how. Oh, so that's why my coworker did that to me. Because they have an instability that they can't control. It wasn't my fault, okay? This is that time. This is a brilliant, beautiful, wonderful time to do this. So take those 15 minutes self-care. Make sure you're nourishing and nurturing yourself. And allow yourself to be present with how you feel. Now, you don't have to wallow in it. You don't have to be like, oh my God, this is going to waste a whole 2 days while I sit there and be overwhelmed by emotions. You get to do it in small bites. You get to say, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to do this, and then I'm going to take a walk in the sunshine or go back to work or get present again, you know? And then maybe in 45 minutes, an hour and a half, you say, okay, I'm going to give myself 10, 15 minutes again to be present and to feel. And then after a little timer goes off, then maybe you go eat lunch. You know, you do something that you know will give you pleasure and happiness. Give yourself a break. You don't have to process through it all at once. You get to do it in small bites. In fact, it's much healthier for you if you do it that way. Because if you try to do too much at once, you're going to end up in a healing crisis and you're already vulnerable. So tons of self-care with little bits of processing. And then the last thing you want to add is a little bit of after post-game analysis. You know, look at it now from a rational point of view, see what happened, maybe notice what might have led up to it, whether the weather change or Mercury Retrograde or a stressor that triggered that person. You know, maybe look at that so that you can be more aware and put it into perspective. Look at how it unfolded. You know, look at how maybe you contributed to it, maybe by how you reacted because your body went into, you know, fight or flight and you started fighting back, you know, or you needed to stand up for yourself and this time you were going to. You know, look at it that way. How did you contribute to a situation with someone who is a mental health disorder? Because narcissism at its core is a mental health disorder, okay? So look at how you dealt with the crazy person, with the person that was off balance and overstimulated and didn't know how to handle their feelings and do not handle them in a way that's healthy for anybody. So look at how maybe your reactions or how you responded to it made things better or worse. You know, made things easier for you or harder for you. You know, look at those sorts of things. For me, you know, one of the insights I got was when someone is being triggered, if I abandon them, you know, if I make them feel abandoned, it's going to be worse. You know, because now they're not only feeling triggered and overwhelmed and anxious, now they're feeling abandoned, which is their deepest fear. It's kind of why they sabotage themselves all the time. You know, you push away all the things that you really want. So look at that, because the more grounded you are, the more present you are, the more healed you are, the happier you end up being at the end of these situations. Because you can't all leave your job or your husband or your mother or your father, or, you know, you're not going to abandon your sister. And, you know, there are a lot of things that you cannot do, that you can't control. But what you can control is to do the things that make you feel loved, centered, grounded, do the things that nourish you, do your own inner healing work. Look at how you contributed to the situation and come up with a game plan. Next time that XYZ happens, that you see this thing starting to come down the pike, like you hear Mercury Retrograde is going to come, that's when you have the plan of, all right, now's the time that maybe I'll distance myself so that I'm not the one that's closest to this person when they explode, because it's not just going to be you. They're going to go after somebody. And if you're the one in their presence, it's going to be you. And so notice when these things, you know, these changes might happen, and give yourself some space from them. Let them go through what they need to go through in their own way. You know, that's when you schedule things where you're going to be gone for the evening, or you make sure that you keep your therapy appointment, that you don't skip it, okay? Get yourself grounded before someone loses control all over you, and it will make it so much easier for you to navigate what's going on. So here's your homework assignment today. Something that makes you feel good, okay? Something that nourishes you after this horrible week that you've been coping with and just trying to survive. Okay? Do one thing that fulfills you and start doing a little bit of self-reflection. So Monday, we're going to be having Jane back. Jane is the astrology, flower essences, codependency expert. You know, we had technology problems last time, but we think we got it figured out. So Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on this channel. Jane and I, flower essence astrologer. She's like a fairy. I love this woman. She's so cool. And she's going to spray and show you how to make your little flower essences and essential oil blends and talk to you about astrological charts and how to look to see what's coming up, you know, so you can prepare better for the insanity that this world is. And so she's going to be hanging out with us Monday night. And then after that, we're going to be scheduling our big Zoom call with all of our experts, where we're all going to come on, have a big jam session like a band might, and play off of each other and share our gold nuggets and wisdom. So keep an eye out for when we're going to schedule that. I think that's it. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you know, message me. There's a lot of ways that I can help, whether it's meditations that I've put out there over the year, because I've been doing this for 12 years, so I've got some stuff out there. Whether it's meditations, whether it's visualizations, whether it's books. If you're in the area, you know, come see me. We'll come up with some sort of package or program that includes body work. You know, so you get coaching and massage if you want. You know, this is how it works. Or you can just do coaching in my office. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. And if you're distant, if you're someplace, let's say Australia or Europe or Texas or Florida or Spokane, you know, I do distance coaching programs. In fact, nice intensity ones. You know, if you're tired of being trapped in you know, these narcissistic and toxic relationships and you don't feel like you have a voice, come work with me, because that's what I do. I help women get stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically in ways designed to take back their power in narcissistic and toxic relationships. That's what I do. So if you're feeling that way and you're feeling stuck, contact me. We'll sit down, we'll have a call, we'll see how I can help, and I'll direct you to the resources that fit you best. Okay? So cool. I think that's it. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And I hope to see you Monday morning and Monday evening with Jane, because she's a hoot. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!